Okay, so like there's a few words that I'm like very passionate about, and they're probably like my favorite. Of course, number one is love, but I believe that's just like a different thing. That's like our mission in life. But like how we should be as humans, two of them like ring a bell that are always grouped together, and it's vulnerability and authenticity. It's just like super things I believe in that we are just called to do as humans, and I think that we don't do as a culture and as a society. And it's scary, and I get it all, but I think it's very needed. So I want to talk a little bit about vulnerability, and especially echoing the last video I just did. Like, that is vulnerable, you know. And I was thinking about it. I was like, but why is it vulnerable, you know? And then I like started thinking, like, originally it all goes back to we are very so as humans we want to be loved and accepted and feeling like we belonged. That's like one of just the main core values, the not values, the main core needs we need as a human being that we were created with, all of us. So we all, whether you want to admit it or not, that's what we need. We need to feel understood and loved and accepted. And we have that core need to feel like we belong. And so when you're vulnerable, sometimes those things that I just mentioned, like belonged and understood and loved and accepted, could, from the reaction of your peers or your family or your friends or whoever besides God, but man, that's why we can't trust man all the time, but it can dismay that feeling that is in our core value in our hearts. So we don't choose to be vulnerable because we have the risk of getting hurt and scared. I mean, not hurt, not scared, rejected, and feel pain. And like, who wants to do that? We are humans, and we just want to feel happy and alive and good. It's just common sense, you know? So anyway, so I don't think we do that. And I was thinking about it, even like, I was like, man, like the last video I posted about just like my feelings of being pregnant is vulnerable because, and I was like, but why is it vulnerable? You know, it's just like me, and it's just real in what I'm feeling. But this is what happens when we have like the opinions of others that they can think, and listen, I'm guilty of it. I thought about it and reflected on it, and I thought like, it's the scariness of like of people thinking like, well, I don't love my baby. Not true. Not at all. It's just like I said, it's my experience. I love my baby very much. And I really think that comes, like, that's another thing. I really think, which another topic, and I already did a video on that though, expectations. I really think that's what it stemmed from. Like, if I had no expectations, I wouldn't be feeling like I need this hallelujah crazy moment. But you hear about like being so connected to your baby and like loving your baby so much, and it's just like this bliss and all these things. So I have all these expectations when it's not that I haven't had like moments where I felt like that, but it's not every day. It's not like these expectations that I put in my head that like, woo, I'm floating on a cloud for 9 months, like, yay, pregnant, you know? That was a awful explanation, but it's truth. Anyway, so back to the vulnerability. Like, in that video, that can very much show that like it can have an opinion of others, and that's where opinions come in, which we do not need to trust the opinion of man. We need to know who we are and who we are in God and what God says about us. So I think that's why we aren't vulnerable. I think it's a safety precautionary, and I think it's more so safe to not take away from the feelings, the risk of getting hurt, basically, or not feeling accepted, or feeling ridiculed, or feeling judged. So that's why we not, and that makes sense why we don't as a culture, because what we really want is to feel loved and accepted. Anyway, it's making me think of, and I actually have some things, and that was just me going off the cuff and sharing what I think about it. But I actually do have a little notepad that I wanted to share. I had shared on my Instagram too. Brene Brown, first of all, I don't know. Oh yeah, it is. I was gonna say, I don't know if this is The Call to Courage on Netflix. Y'all need to check it out. It's so beautiful. It's like an hour long talk on her, and she's way better than me. She's obviously she's like a researcher, and she strongly is passionate about vulnerability, but she does like the scientific work behind it, like the psychological, the emotional. So she knows way more than just me and my experience and my beliefs and what I think. So y'all check that out. But this is what she does say, and I want to which might be what I kind of said, but she says, like, why would we want to be vulnerable? Because what comes with it is when we be vulnerable, yeah, pretty much the same word, is like shame and fear and scarcity and uncertainty. So, and this is the part, man. Okay, well, this makes perfect sense for this video, because this is the part. So it's like, yeah, like I was saying, why would you want, like, who in their right mind wants to go to those spots? But if you aren't vulnerable, this is what you miss out on. She doesn't say this. I'm saying this right now. But this is her words, not mine. It says it's the birthplace. And I just love that, because it's so true. So when we are vulnerable, it's the birthplace for love, belonging, joy, understanding, trust. And she mentions a few more, but those, hello, it just is what I was saying, and like what I've experienced in my own life. Those words, when you are vulnerable, that's what you get to experience. So like, yeah, it's hard to be vulnerable, and it's hard to be real in a world where we might have more people that are judging and less people that we can trust and all of the things. But guess what? All of that's irrelevant, because when you are vulnerable, you get to experience the fullness, and I mean like fullness of life. And that is what we all about, right? Be free, accompanying Maggie Lee. That's what we want to do. That's what we want to live. This is what this whole mission is about. So be vulnerable, man. It's hard. It's scary, but it's worth it. That sounds like a cliche line, but it's the truth. Anyway, I love y'all very much. As always, peace, love, and godly juice. And please subscribe if y'all like these messages. Thank y'all so much. Bye-bye.